Hey guys, JSimLady here. Welcome back. Today is the fourth installment and final, I might add, of the Same House All Four Sims game speed build series, I guess is what I'd call it. So I had a different idea in mind for how this house would look in its final Sims 4 version. And then I realized that that wouldn't really be right because it wouldn't be the exact same house in all four games. So I stayed very true to the Sims 1 version, as I did for the previous two, The Sims 2 and The Sims 3 as well. Only adding things where things could or should be added that wasn't available in the previous games. Does that make sense? And like the previous two games, I added things in that were unique to this game in some small areas while trying to maintain the overall weird and eclectic vibe of the original house from The Sims 1. Because the options were so limited in The Sims 1, it truly was a weird and eclectic house. And that's what makes it fun, you know? That's what makes it fun. At least I can say that now. Back in the day, it was annoying after playing the game for 3 years with just the same limited items. It did get boring, not gonna lie. It did get very boring. And that's why I used to download a ton of custom content back in the day. I don't feel the need to do that, and I didn't feel the need to do that as much with The Sims 3 either, because I feel like we got, well, definitely in The Sims 4, we've gotten a massive amount of content compared to the previous three games. With The Sims 3, there was actually actively more things to do and more ways to do them in comparison to the previous two games. And so at the time of The Sims 3, and again, it was only, what, a 4 or 5 year long game. So I didn't feel as much need to download custom content. Of course, then there was also the issue where I did destroy two computers downloading custom content for The Sims 2 as well, which kind of put me off of downloading custom content. But anyways, yeah, we definitely have more options in The Sims 4, and even keeping the same look of that original Sims 1 house, it still looks 1,000 times better in The Sims 4 than it did in the previous games. Now, I was having some issues, which you'll see here in a minute. I don't think I've ever had an issue placing furniture next to the posts before. Like, that just wasn't a thing that happened previously. Of course, granted, I haven't used the posts very often recently, so maybe I'm misremembering. But I swear, because you're gonna see it here in just a minute, that I try to place the love seat on the back corner of the porch there, and I couldn't do it because there was a post, a column there. And I don't think I've ever run into that problem before. At least not that I remember of, anyways. So I had to get rid of that post because one of the other things that I did was also not use any cheats because I don't know any of the cheats for the original games. I also know that in at least a couple of the games, they warned heavily against using move objects on because the Sims had major routing issues. I feel like that's been a problem with all 4 games at one time or another. And even though some people claim it's no longer an issue in The Sims 4, or at least not as much of an issue, I feel like there are regular everyday players who are not builders who are downloading quote unquote builder homes, and they're having a lot of routing issues. At least according to the ones who post on Twitter about it, anyways. So I'm gonna venture guess and say it's kind of hit and miss, but the Sims are most likely still having routing issues, and that, there are a lot of things. Like, I know there was a point where using move objects on would cause various random objects around the lot to become linked, and so if you deleted one object, you could lose objects all the way over on the other side of the lot. I had that happen a few times. Just, general stuff like that. And so using move objects on is not great. The nice thing about The Sims 4 is you can alt place things to get them a little bit closer together and make it look a lot better than having big gaps in between items without using cheats. And it very rarely interferes with Sims routing and stuff, because you still are limited to the slots that are available within that one tile area. And that's the other thing. You will see it way later in the video, but I was having issues with slotting and snapping all of a sudden too. You'll see it in the dining room and the bedroom upstairs in just a minute, so I won't talk about it just yet. But yeah, I was having some weird issues that I don't remember previously having. Also, we've already established that the scale of each game and its building scale versus the object scale is completely different for each game. Sort of, with one exception. Did you notice, and I did, and I've known this for a while, like this isn't something new to me, but there are a few items like the stove, the fridge, the beds, both the single beds and the double beds, are pretty similar through all 4 games, meaning that their scale in comparison to each other and the grid remains largely the same, which I kind of find fascinating because, well, I guess chairs, that's another one that remains largely the same, but like all sorts of other objects like flowers and plants and shrubs and trees, workbenches. Some games not only have the larger footprint of the object itself, but then it has tiles around it where, okay, how do I explain this? So the flower bench that I placed in the shed in the back, in the original Sims, the footprint of the object was just the object itself, and your Sims could still walk up to it and use it and everything just fine. But in The Sims 4 here and The Sims 3, for a lot of objects, there is a tile in the front as well that is completely unusable. And I don't know what the difference is. Like, why can The Sims use objects that don't have that extra spacing in the front in The Sims 1, but they can't use them in The Sims 4 without that empty tile in the front of them? Does that make sense? But the overall scale of building itself dramatically changes as the game goes forward. In The Sims 1, in the house that I built, there is some, like a lot of empty, like majorly empty space. And, the furniture overall takes up less space than in here in The Sims 4. But the routing for The Sims in The Sims 1 requires slightly more space than in The Sims 4. Like, you can have a one tile wide hallway in The Sims 4 and your Sims will be fine, whereas in The Sims 2, or I mean The Sims 1, the original Sims, they wouldn't. They would struggle with that space, being a one tile wide basically room essentially. They did not like that from what I remember. So yeah. There are all sorts of little things that were different and noticeable and whatnot. As far as my favorite game, I think I said this before and I'll say it again. For building purposes, it's definitely The Sims 4. I know a lot of people like to complain about The Sims 4, but I'm in the majority here. Like, there are a ton of players. The Sims 4 is, I mean, the Sims franchise as a whole is a hugely popular and well selling game franchise. There's no doubt about that. But The Sims 4 has been far and wide the most popular of all four games. And there's a reason for that, despite its sometimes glitching and things like that. There is so much more freedom in this game. There are issues that you didn't run into in the previous games. You definitely can clutter up rooms and have smaller rooms in The Sims 4 than you could in The Sims 1. In The Sims 1, this living room had to be big so that there was walk space all the way around the coffee table, because in The Sims 1, not only could you not center a 2-tile coffee table in front of a 3-tile couch, but it had to have a full square space between the coffee table and the couch, or the Sims wouldn't use the center of the couch, or sometimes even the ends of the couch, depending on how the room is set up. So we've gained a lot over the years, and I'm not going to apologize for the fact that The Sims 4 is my favorite. My second favorite would probably be The Sims 2, but I think that has more to do with my life situation in The Sims 1 versus The Sims 2 and 3 and now 4. For The Sims 3, like I mentioned before, I had just given birth. I had a small human that I was raising at the time who was completely dependent on me. I didn't have as much time to play, and by the end of The Sims 3, the open world just did not work properly at all. The Sims 1, I did not have the money at the time for a computer that could run the Sims games. It took a lot of trial and error to get a computer and a lot of time. I struggled with playing The Sims 1 for the first couple of years, and it wasn't until the later part of The Sims 1 life that I actually had a computer that could run it really well. The Sims 2 was when I had the most time and the most money, not counting now, and everything just sort of lined up for me to be able to play the most. So those are probably the reasons why I feel the way I do about the various games. That being said, you just saw it there on the dresser, and you saw it a minute ago with the table downstairs. Some of the objects are now suddenly having snapping and slotting issues. Now I know that that dresser did not have those slotting issues before, and that table obviously did not have that snapping issue with the chairs before. So, as they're fixing things, they're introducing new bugs potentially. I don't really know what's going on there. Those little things can be kind of annoying. I will admit that because one, unless I use a cheat, I can't put anything on that particular dresser. And two, unless I just want the table that I originally wanted in the dining room to be purely decorative and not usable, I can't use that table at all because chairs won't snap to it. So, or at least that particular chair wouldn't snap to it. I didn't think to try a different chair. Maybe I'll try a different chair and see what happens. But that particular dresser definitely had some slotting issues on the top. But yeah, we're almost done. And we've just got the primary bedroom now. And I tried to stay as true to the Sims 1 version of this house as I could. However, I plan on taking this house and doing some remodeling and redecorating of it in a couple of weeks and really showing the Sims 4's potential under its own, not trying to keep within The Sims 1 and everything that I did with The Sims 1, if that makes sense. So look forward to that, and let's get into a quick walkthrough. Okay, so let's get into this quick walkthrough, shall we? It's basically the same as the others, except I did include the insect farm because we did not have anything like that in the previous game, so I thought that would be cool to add next to the garden. I did have to build my own pond because I could not find the piranha pond or shark pond. And I put a flower arranging table in the shed because it's something different from the other games, but the shed was also just too small for anything else. We've got the wildflower garden, which in the original Sims does have butterflies around it, and again in this one I was able to put butterflies. We also have upper cabinets now, so I included those. That finishes off the kitchen nicely. Many objects like this trash can here have smaller footprints and they leave more space on either side, so I was able to scoot it to the center a little bit more and still allow the dishwasher to be usable. We have no wall phones, so I included the thermostat because this is the first game we had a thermostat in. Otherwise, the rest of the house is basically the same down here as the other three games, so that's fun. Oh, with the one exception of drink trays also were not in the previous game, so I did include one of those, and we have lots more decor objects now that I was able to include. Also, the stairs are a lot steeper in this game than all the other games. They only take up 4 squares, whereas in every game previous to this one, they took up 5. So we have an extra space here, which is a little bit weird, but whatever. Everything up here is pretty much identical with the exception of I added a couple of things like the dog toys, a rug, some other decorative pieces that aren't available in the other games. But yeah, essentially all the same bedroom stuff. We have a linen closet in here, which is what I built that bathroom for, a rug here. But yeah, everything's basically the same. So on that note, if you enjoyed this series, if you're enjoying my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.